Thank you for joining us. My name is Joshua Kerber. Today I'm joined with Glenn Lax, Ryan Griffith, and Nick Moss. We recently sent out a survey to get a little bit of information about what you wanted to see in your escape room experience. But before we get into that, I think we need to do a little bit of an introduction. Who are you fine folks that I'm talking to today?
It's Glenn Lax, I'm the Vice President.
Ryan Griffith, CEO.
And Nick Moss, Head of Marketing.
Excellent. Now, I'm sure on the front of the survey you saw that gorgeous, gorgeous logo. Now, Ryan, what exactly are the Keepers of Balance?
Well, Keeper's Balance is an escape room, as we know. We are more of an adventure experience, I would say. Who the Keeper of Balance are, well, it's a secret organization. And a long time ago, there were the people called the Curious. And they traveled in time, they traveled to different dimensions, and these were the leaders of all industry. It's the philosophers, mathematicians, architects, and they pretty much figured out how to do the time travel. Well, what they would do is they would go to right or wrong. They might stop a famine in one area, in one dimension, and caused a war in another. And every time they tried to mess with time, it pushed back, and it caused ripples. So finally, the Curious banded together to call Keepers of Balance, and they went back to different times and dimensions to fix what they went wrong.
Okay, that sounds very interesting. So, Nick, what was it that inspired you to start an escape room?
So I started playing escape rooms probably 7 or 8 years ago, and had a great time with them. And Ryan and I have been good friends for a while, and I always tried to lure him into one, and he'd always make fun of me and say no. So finally, I was able to convince him to go to a room one day, and he honestly had such a fantastic time, and reluctantly was like, "Yeah, it was fun. I want to do another one." So we had a good time with it, and we've done countless rooms since, all over, and we always talk about the things that we really enjoyed during the rooms, but there's also the things that we felt like could have done a little bit better or differently. So like most people, you always say, well, I can do it better. And so we actually are trying to do it better. So we got together and we started talking about how would we do it. And here we are several years later and working on opening our own.
So what does the Keepers of Balance escape room experience? What makes that unique? Glenn, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, a few of the things, as far as the facility goes itself, it's going to be multi-level, so there'll be multi-level on some of the games. The amount of rooms that each game has, whereas most escape rooms just have a handful of rooms. One of ours has up to 14 rooms in it. Some other aspects, we utilize live actors, which some places do as well, and we've really enjoyed. But in addition to that, you're going to have to become an actor yourself as a participant to navigate your way through the rooms. Also, different aspects as far as incorporating other senses that some places don't use, as far as smells, sounds, visual effects. It's a truly immersive experience.
Okay. How many games are you going to be opening?
Initially, we'll be opening with 3, and we have space for up to 7, but initially 3 from the get-go.
So, Ryan, what are your room themes?
Not so fast. We will be sending out announcements the next month or two, and each month we will be showcasing one of our games to kind of create some suspense, but also really highlight that game. And this will be done like everything else, as an experience in character, and we want to have fun with it.
Okay, Ryan, you can keep your secrets for now. Now, that does sound like quite a project. Are you doing this all on your own? Who else do we have involved?
We have a truly amazing team that thankfully we got, about 4 or 5 years ago when we were starting talking about, hey, we want to create this amazing experience. We're like, yeah, that sounds great, but we don't really know anything about the business. We don't know how to connect A to B. So we started finally just talking to people. We reached out to a lot of the leaders in the industry in the U.S. and listened to podcasts. And finally, we got connected with the person we call the Michael Jordan Ball Escape Room, this Chris Ladner out of Germany. And right off the bat, we just hit it off. You know, he took a lot of our ideas and brought them to life, and also kind of created his own ideas as well. And you know, with that, we have Andy and Michelle from Firefly. We have Theron Skis out of Orlando. He longtime Imagineer at Disney. And we also have Sven as well. And the team is amazingly passionate, and they're just excited about this project as we are, and we can't wait to tell our story.
Well, that does sound like an amazing, very, very talented team. Now, before we get into the results of the survey, which I know you're all excited for, I want to hear from each of you. What are some of your favorite escape room experiences? What are your favorite games?
Personally, for me, last year we went to Germany and visited Chris and his team and played some of his rooms there, and just head and shoulders above anything at least I've seen anywhere here in the United States.
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, just the quality of the set design, the thought process around the puzzles themselves, the special effects were not matched anywhere here. You know, I do feel like I need to say something else because you took my answer. You know, I would say that the first escape room that I went into was called Shipwrecked in Charlotte, and you know, I kind of went in with some type of trepidation, and then about 10 minutes in, I'm just yelling at everybody, "Come on, let's do it!" And it really, it's why I'm here today, and I caught the passion. You know, I caught the idea of, hey, let's, you know, as a kid, I loved Goonies, Indiana Jones. I'm like, I would love to create something like that where you could actually be, you know, Chunk or Indy or whomever, and that's why I would say, you know, Shipwreck was one of my favorites.
Yeah, Shipwreck was good. I think I played that one 3 or 4 times myself. It was that good. However, I'd have to put one other contender in there and say that down at Greenville Escapes, or Escape Artists Greenville, they've got a room called Starlight Motel, and it's just a fantastic room, very well done. But the game master has a acting part in the room that just really did it for me. So I've gone back and done several more of the rooms at Escape Artist, and they're all fantastic, really, and so good that I actually proposed to my now wife in one of the rooms. So they did a good job helping me out with that. So I'm sure I have to mention that one was my favorite to keep her happy. That's my favorite.
Oh, those sound like some really, really fun games. So, to the survey, Nick, why send out a survey?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we had a lot of discussions internally about the direction that things should go, and there's a lot of opinions of, well, we should do it this way, and maybe we should do it that way, and we weren't really coming to a solid conclusion. We said, well, instead of doing this in a silo, why don't we just ask the community what they want and build what they want as well? So we felt the need to send the survey out to get the feedback from the community so we could build the product that they want to see as well.
Okay. So from the survey, what results from the survey do you think were the most surprising?
I would say the length of the survey results after I calculated everything, it ended up being, it was only 6 or 7 questions that we asked, and ended up with 50 pages of data that are in the packet. Now in that you got the abbreviated results, which if you just want to kind of get the highlights, you get that in the first 2 or 3 pages. Then there's all the charts and graphs and the data that goes kind of into how we got to where we got to with some of the decisions. And then the last, let's say 20, 25 pages is that raw data. So there were sections where people could freely input their responses, and every single response is in there, good or bad or indifferent, they're all in there. So it was surprising how long the results turned out to be, but also within those results, I was really surprised by the drink portion. So I expected to see a lot of people wanted these kind of custom craft cocktails and the frilly drinks and things like that, and I think it was only like 32 or 33% of people wanted cocktails. So I was surprised to see what some of the preferences there were. And the one other thing that really surprised me was in some of the free open feedback that people people provided. I had a hunch that people would say, there's a lot of games out there that are just kind of run down or need some upkeep or locks don't work quite well enough. But I was really surprised to see that there's a lot of people who gave feedback around game masters and about how they want them to be more engaged and more active within rooms and just do a better job helping to keep them in that experience. So I would say those were the few things that I saw that I was most surprised about. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, to kind of piggyback on that is, we kind of like to have our live actors. They want to be in character with the gamers themselves, and nothing worse than when you're trying to do a puzzle and the game master comes on and they give you the hint and you didn't want to hear it. And there's a nuance where maybe that actor can kind of give you a little nudge in character, and then it's just a whole lot different way of doing that. Another thing, one of my takeaways, couple takeaways, is all the things that we thought were opportunities are the same things that people were talking about. As far as the after game experience with the food and beverage, because that's the one big thing that Nick and I talked about from the very beginning. Is we get done with the game, we had a good time, and we want to talk about it, but we did it in a parking lot. And we're like, man, wouldn't it be great to share a beer, share a social food where we can all, because, we've gotten to the point now where, everything is, especially post-COVID, we don't get to see our friends and family as much as we used to. And to have space where we can, be with our favorite people and have a great experience and share a cocktail or share beer or share a social food, that's what we want to do.
Anything from you, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, more or less, I think they pretty much nailed what was surprising, and I think kind of to piggyback on Ryan's comments about the food and beverage, I think it's important for us to be able to make sure that everything we do in this project is A+ quality, well thought out, well planned, themed, and our food and beverage, will be limited initially, but it will be done right, and I think that is something very important to all of us.
Well, it sounds like you're on the right track, and you got some great data from that survey. Glenn, aren't you a little bit worried that your competitors might take this data and use it to take business away from you?
No, and we've talked about this. It's one of those things where we would actually like them to access the data and internalize it and maybe see if there's something they can take away to improve their operations, because we would like to see the entire industry improve, and I think that would help.
I mean, I think that sounds very hopeful and optimistic, and I think that's a great step forward in the right direction. Now, I know all of you are excited about those prizes that we heard about. So, Nick, what are these prizes?
Yeah, so we had a lot of debate around prizes as well, and we want to make sure that we weren't giving away keychains and koozies, because it's who cares. So we started out with 10 prizes. We decided since to up it to 20 because we got really such very thoughtful feedback from people. So we said, let's put a little extra skin in the game on this one. So we've upped it to 20 prizes. We got great T-shirts, kind of like this one. Who loves a good T-shirt? We actually had a whole process around picking the right shirt and making sure that it felt good too, because nothing worse than getting a shirt that doesn't feel good. So we've got several shirts. We've got some custom hand-painted shoes that are done in our color, which have a nice little logo on the back, very subtle. But those will be done in the size of whoever the winner is of those. Some of the prizes I'm most excited about, though, is a full membership. And so I'll break down what that means. So memberships can't be bought within Keepers of Balance. It's something where as you go through and complete the games, you become one step closer to becoming a keeper. And so with membership comes exclusive perks. So we have members-only parties and events. We have early access to new games that come out and other types of specials and promotions. So there's things that only keepers get access to as a full member. So, all the more reason to play the games and become a full member. Unlocks all the different features of the facility for you. But the one I'm most excited about was actually one of our last ideas, and we're giving 2 people the opportunity to actually sit at the table during our next game design, and we want to get their feedback and their input, and we want them to help us design the game. We remember as we were going through playing games how much we're like, wow, this is great, but I have all these ideas, and sometimes as just a patron, it's hard to bring that to life. So we want to extend the opportunity to a couple people to help bring their ideas to life. And so we're going to offer them a seat at the table to actually get their ideas and put them out there and have something that they can play. And the people that get to help out with that will get to play the games for free.
Wow, that sounds like a really unique prize. If I had the opportunity to win one, that's the one I would want, honestly. Now, Ryan, when exactly is this escape room going to be open?
That's been the $1 million question for a long time. Like we said earlier, we started this process 4 or 5 years ago. We teamed up with Chris over 2 years ago. A lot of that was working with the architects, which took 18 months. Working with the cities, the code enforcement. Like, what can we do within the boundaries of code? Because we really wanted to push the boundaries on a physical part of the experience. We actually broke ground last week. Just so you know, this is a ground-up construction project, so it's not like we're going into an established building, throwing up some demising walls and opening the doors and turning the lights on. So this is a much more complicated process. We kind of feel we're in that 10 to 12 month mark right now. But good news is we're, since all systems go, we're pouring concrete next week, and walls are starting to go up in the building a little bit after that.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about it for me was around the opening was the code, because most people that we brought this project to looked at it and just kind of scratched their head and had no idea what this thing even was. So that put us behind schedule a little bit, but we're getting there.
Yeah, they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, why not, right? But no, we're very excited to do something that no one here has experienced. I promise you.
Well, that all sounds really exciting, and I cannot wait to have the opportunity to play these games. Is there any final closing things that you want to say or mention to our lovely viewers at home?
I guess just a big thank you to everybody for the input, and again, it wasn't, we took it very serious and took it to heart, and we're going to incorporate as much of it as we possibly can. Incorporating everything is hard, but it's definitely steered us in the right direction, and I think even kind of helped us avoid a couple learnings as well. So I guess just thank you to everybody who helped with the survey.
Thank you.
All right. If you are interested in reading the full 50-page document, you can click the link in the description and download your copy. If you would like to keep up to date with the Keepers of Balance, you can join the mailing list. Until next time, goodbye, everyone.